Hello and welcome to my video where I'm going to talk about the motion graphs and how to make them. So here we have the Google Sheets that you guys should have started with, and so what we're going to do here is just recognize that this should be filled out. The time should be filled out all the way to here, and I believe trial A goes all the way to the beginning and trial B ends like here-ish. I don't remember exactly the number, but something like that. So what you're going to do is you're going to put in your time. So everything's going to start at time 0 and point 0, as in the distance from the beginning is 0 for the first point. And then from there you're going to go point 2, because every single point is another 0.1 second further than before. So you just, when you want to drag, or when you want to continue a pattern, you can actually just look at this bottom left or bottom right corner of the cells, select a couple in the pattern, and then grab that corner, the blue corner, drag down to the bottom, and it will continue the pattern. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then it goes to 1, 2, and 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 4.5 seconds. Okay. Now at this point I'm not going to use the real data, but I'm going to make some stuff up just so you can see what it could look like. So I'm going to go like this, and oops, that's not going to work. I'm going to go like this. Is that going to work? Yeah, it is. Okay, I'm going to make some data up here, and I'm going to make another one where equals this times this. I don't know. Got to make something. Autofill. Okay. So I have to have two different graphs. Oh, that's not good. That's gonna be way too big. Okay. No. Divided by 100. No, divided by 10. I have to have a bunch of data in here. Okay. Okay, so once you have your data filled in, this one is not very realistic, but it's something. Once you have your data filled in, then you're going to select all of your boxes. So you want to select all the way from time in the top left corner, all the way to the bottom right corner of cell D48. So from D1 to D48, you're going to select all of them, then you're going to press Insert Chart. This is going to add a graph. So at that point, you're going to have a graph that looks something like this. And amazingly, it starts off looking pretty good. It starts off looking like a scatter chart, scatter plot. Okay? You're going to have, your graph is going to look something like this. Not exactly like this, but something like this, where there's a trial A and a trial B. My graph here is based off of patterns and therefore is perfect, like perfectly perfect. That's not really realistic, but yours will have some variance based off your measurements. Yours is not going to be the same as mine that I did with the same data. Yours is not going to be the same as your friends with the same data because you guys measure differently. But the general gist of the graph is going to be one's going to be straight, trial A is going to be straight, and trial B is not. So if it doesn't show up like this, where there's a bunch of dots in two different colors, you want to pick chart type, and you want to pick a scatter plot, or scatter chart. This gives us this type of graph, which is really helpful in science. It's the main type of graph we use because of something called trend lines. So if we look at trial A, and we click, we want to add a trend line, and then we want to look at the type of trend line, and we want to pick linear. So the first one, A, is a straight line, and so that is our trend line. And what we can also do is label with our equation. So our trend line is actually going to give us our y equals mx plus b equation. So if you look up here and you put y in front, it's y equals 5 times x plus this number is the b. Which should just be 0 because it's 0, so I'm not 100% sure why that is a weird number, but it's times 10 to the negative 15, so it's basically 0 anyway. So anyways, we have a slope of 5. Okay. The second graph, trial B, also can get a trend line, but you can notice that a straight line doesn't really go through it very well. So we're going to use a polynomial of degree 2, and we're going to use the equation as well. The equation isn't very helpful for us in this case because you guys don't know how to solve that. We don't have that knowledge in Science 10, but it is really cool to notice that this should end up being a quadratic because it is, well, hopefully you can recognize based off of our situation in the lab video that it is accelerating due to gravity, and so it's accelerating and it's constantly accelerating, so it's going to be a curve with our position versus time graph. So let's take a look at chart titles. So you can look at the chart title as a whole, and you should have position versus time as your title. You have this as your legend, trial A and B, so that you don't need that as your title. Then you can go to the horizontal. You want to have time, and you want to have the units. Vertical axes, we want to have position, and we want to have the units that we're working with. And our chart should also have that. Okay, so at this point we have both X and Y axes titles. We have the main title, we have our chart, and it's looking pretty good. So now what we're going to do, where's my, here it is. What you're going to do is you're going to open up your document with the Motion Lab write-up, and where it says Insert Google Sheets, you're going to go in and you're going to click Insert, Chart from Sheets, and then you're going to find Motion Graphs. This is the Motion Lab key, so I did this exact lab already. But anyways, you're going to put this in, you're going to link to sheet, yes, click on it, click Import, and boom, perfectly in place in your lab write-up in a beautiful manner. Okay, down here it also says Insert Google Drawing, so you can do that here because you're going to just draw a very basic position versus time graph with the information provided in the story above. So Insert Drawing and just press New, and then you can go to Scribble and you can draw whatever graph that you're working on. So that is certainly an option. So what I would probably do is start with drawing a line and draw it straight down, make it nice and thick because we're making an axis, make it nice and thick, and then make oops, and then you can switch to Scribble, and then you can draw your graph, whatever it might look like, and do it smaller. So then once you're ready, you just press Save and Close, and look, it inserts your graph. Now this isn't very good because it asks for a few things, labeled axes. Your graph should not look identical for part A and B, so anyways, you need to read that stuff. You can also click back in. You can add text box for your title. You can go do whatever you need to do. Okay? So this is the process for doing our lab, and especially the Google Sheets. So good luck, everyone. I hope that the lab is enjoyable. Have a nice day. Bye.